Hey! Estamos ao vivo, galera do Heavy Culture, exatamente 19 horas, horário do Brasil, 9 da noite, Portugal, né? 5 da tarde, horário dos Estados Unidos, recebendo aqui uma lenda, Scott Wino Weinrich, Heavy Culture, The Obsessed Saint Vitus. É uma tremenda honra estar podendo conversar com o Wino, nosso herói, pelo menos é o meu herói. Estou bastante nervoso, vocês percebem, né? Falar com o Eric Wagner e com o Wino em pouco tempo, não, né? A gente não consegue elaborar muito bem. Miguel, seja bem-vindo, Portugal Connection.
Olá, boa noite a todos e 22 horas em Portugal e 1 minuto.
22.
Em Portugal há muitos fãs das bandas que tu acabaste de enunciar. O Scott é certamente uma das pessoas que é referência para muita gente e da minha parte volto a dizer que hoje estive a fazer algum trabalho de casa, a ouvir Saint Vitus e a ouvir também The Obsessed, também o álbum a solo do Scott, que foi uma surpresa para mim. Quem não conhece devia procurar o trabalho a solo do Scott, porque vai ter surpresas certamente, e vamos a isto, vamos partir para a entrevista. Hoje vou contar muito com a ajuda do Christian, uma vez que ele talvez domine mais esta matéria do que eu, não sendo um seguidor do Doom Metal. E Jorge, tu és o rei aqui, uma vez mais.
Christian, bem-vindo novamente. Ivan, bem-vindo, e vamos lá. Vamos conversar com o nosso querido Wino. Christian, começa aí.
A primeira pergunta devia ser tua, Jorge. Tu é que és o fã número 1 aqui.
Não, abre os caminhos primeiro aí.
Okay, so I'm going to do the first question, and it's inevitable to ask for how are the things doing there with all this pandemic situation, and how do you feel about it?
Well, you want to get right into it right away, huh? Okay.
I would prefer to do an introduction, but Christian is also nervous. I can see that.
My name's Wino. It's a pleasure to be here. My first thing I want to say is I want to apologize for not being able to make it to South America and countries beyond because of this so-called pandemic. We were supposed to be in South America for the very first time last August. It was one of my oldest dreams. So that was smashed by the elitist pigs, of course. I've been to Portugal once, and I intend to return. And hopefully, with any luck, we the Obsessed will be in South America. I will be there one way or another, whether it's with the Obsessed or whether I have to play wooden guitar or whatever. It's been my dream. So again, my deepest apologies, and hopefully soon.
Yeah, I think most of the fans understand the situation because everybody is a little bit, I could say, like bored because of the situation, because we can't leave our homes to go to a simple concert, even like a small one, and everybody is anxious to see you playing again. Also, are you preparing something new for those concerts when you return?
Well, it's been a long time since it's been over the pond. I've got a lot of material. Hopefully by then we'll have something else out too. We're planning on releasing a song soon with our new bass player, or our newest bass player, Brian White. We don't really have anything recorded with him yet, studio-wise, except for this one song. So we're mixing that now. I don't want to release the name just yet because it's going to, just for reasons, whatever. But man, I can't wait to get over. All I want to do is play. And, it's unfortunate because it's looking like now, hey, you might have to get a vaccine to be able to fly,
Yeah.
If I want to inject something, man, I want to get high, fuck this fucking, You know what I mean?
Yeah, we do.
What I'm trying to say is okay, here's my thoughts in a nutshell, and I'm just going to make it crystal clear, okay? I believe the virus exists, okay? But I believe it's been weaponized or has mutated or there's more than one, okay? Isn't it a weird coincidence that when the virus first comes out, Boris Brexit gets it from England, the most controversial politician, Trump gets it. It's like, it's a little bit strange the way it's going out. And I think it's even stranger when you do the research. I don't know very many people that have actually looked into the deep science. I'm not talking about the wiki science. I'm not talking about the fucking news science. I'm talking about the science of, unpublished, mainly unpublished scientists, because once you're published in the scientific world, then you work for Big Ugly. Plain and simple. I mean, the main law, one of the main laws now that I'm going to talk about is that if you're like a junior scientist, right, and you're working on, let's say you're working on the cure for this virus, right? So if you find a little part of that nobody else has found before, you can then patent that, okay? And that means that nobody else can use that. So that means the science of the cure is locked off already, see? And the reason is because the Community of 300, Black nobility, all these old bloodlines that really run this world, they don't want the rest of the world to grow.
Yeah.
They don't want the rest of the world to grow. They don't want the U.S. to, the U.S. and certain parts of the world, in their eyes, soon will be either a breadbasket or a no man's land or whatever it's going to be. I believe they plan on culling the population. I believe it's already started. And you know what, man? Who the fuck does this fucking Klaus Schwab dude just think he's fucking God? This guy at the World Economic Forum, he's got this whole plan for this great reset. I didn't elect him. Who elected that motherfucker? You know what I mean? The guy playing God. I mean, come on. Davos, here's what I think. I think that when the World Economic Forum holds their next big meeting of Big Ugly in Davos, Switzerland in January this year, I think on that day and on that minute, we need to get everybody to just focus mentally and to try to visualize not death, not death on anybody, but to just try to visualize like maybe an avalanche, maybe the bridge with all the limousines gets washed out. Some kind of focus on Davos, okay? It might sound crazy, but dude, let me tell you what, it's really the only weapon we have. Yeah. What do you stand a chance against AI? You walk in the woods, there's going to be a sensor that's going to tell you. You fire a gun, you're going to be triangulated. Your heat reading is going to be out from above. The only chance we have is to focus together. That's what I really believe. And so that's it. That's my views on the virus. I believe it exists. I believe it's been weaponized. I believe it's targetedly unleashed. And I also believe, look, you don't quarantine healthy people. All right. It is yet to be proven to me. It's yet to be proven to me that if you are okay. Well, first of all, let's get a little bit deeper. When the CDC first came out with their test, they said it doesn't work. The PRS test, it doesn't work. Okay, that only works for if you already have it or are symptomatic, and then you test that. Okay, what that test does is gives you a lot of false positives. Okay, but let's just suppose that you test positive, but are asymptomatic. I don't believe you're contagious, and it is yet to be proven to me that if you test positive, but are asymptomatic, that you are contagious. Somebody prove that to me. All right. So until that happens, this mask bullshit. Okay, there's a lot of science on the mask too. When you wear a mask like that, it inhibits carbon dioxide the way that the iron bonds to your fucking cells and shit like this. It's fucking bad.
Yeah.
Duh. So I think that people understandably are scared, and I really care for people, and I know people have lost loved ones, and I think it's a fucking damn shame. Who the fuck takes a virus, a pathogenic virus that's already lethal, and makes it fucking worse? I mean, is that a human? I mean, I think these people are fucking hybrids. God got me on a good day. I feel good. I feel
so good to put it out.
Talking to like minds, and I'm not trying to say that this virus doesn't exist. This virus doesn't kill people. But I do have what I've just said are my views.
Yeah, it's like I really got your point. The problem now is like the way that the government is dealing with the situation. No one knows how to deal. They were like completely unprepared, and then they are kind of creating this crazy situation between people because we don't have all the full information, and they just release the small parts of the information, never the correct one, or they are trying to do something. They are like, well, we know always hiding something
Right.
in plain sight.
Right. Elected governments, okay, elected officials, they're not all bad. I'm sure that there's a lot of good people. They're getting pressured like a motherfucker. They're getting pressured. They're getting their ass kicked. For example, the German government asked their own government, the scientific wing of their government, I can't name it, but I know that it existed, to do a study, okay?
Yeah.
The study came out, and the study was published, okay? Within, what, a few days, the study was redacted? It's just the same as the CDC when they first said you don't need masks, and then they pull it. See, here's what it is it's like this guy that's playing God say. He goes, how can we pass up this opportunity?
Yeah.
You know, how can we pass up this opportunity of this virus to do this reset? You know, listen, this is a very, very old plan. This is the same plan that brought us World War I. This is the same people that brought us World War II. This, you know, okay, you know, you got Krupps and you got Ford. Ford's making rubber for the fucking both sides, both for the Americans and the Axis. You know, I mean, it's old, and it's old money, and it's fucking greed. It's fucking greed, man, and it's fucking bullshit.
Yeah, I really got the point here, and I really think the same as you too. Jorge, quer fazer alguma pergunta?
Eu tenho uma pergunta. Eu quero saber do Wino.
Pumped up. I don't want to, you know, my goal is not to piss anybody off.
Yeah, we got.
Hey, Scott.
Producer in the studio, you know, his goal is to pull production without pissing you off. You know.
At least you have a lot of stuff to write about. You know, this mental illness of people, the tragedy around the world and stuff like that. Let's see it that way.
This is a very calculated program that's going on right now. That's happening. It is calculated to drive people crazy, and that's why you'll see suicide numbers spike and stuff like that. And that's why what you guys are doing is so important. So thank you.
Thank you for what you have done and will do after all this.
Yeah.
Jorge, tu tinhas uma pergunta?
Sobre o último álbum, o Sacred, de 2017, pergunta para ele que depois, né, de um longo período sem lançamento, né, desde 94 e 2017, o Obsessed lançou o Sacred. Como é que foi a repercussão, se ele curtiu, enfim, né, trazer um pouco do panorama desse disco para nós aí.
Vai lá, Miguel.
All right. So Jorge was asking about the big hiatus that you had between Sacred and the previous album. He was asking you, going right at the end of your career, asking you about the repercussion of that album, the Sacred. What can you tell us about that? So many years without a new record, and suddenly there's a record.
Well, I mean, I've been playing quite, you know, since those two records happened, I've been playing quite a bit. You know, I did some other records and stuff, but my baby was always the Obsessed. You know, that's my band. That's my love. And you know, the other bands I've been, I completely love too. You know, but I mean, it was time for another Obsessed record, and I knew that it had to be as good or better than To Protect and To Serve, and that was a pretty tall bar. But you know, once I found the guys, then I found that I had the magic, and that really was when I hooked up with Brian Costantino, my drummer friend. You know, because it's really, you know, without somebody else who is really enthusiastic, willing to help me make the wheels turn, boots on the ground type stuff, you know, it would have been a lot harder. And consequently, it's also nice to have a good friend who is my best friend, who is the drummer. And so, you know, we managed to we managed to make what I consider to be a great record. I'm really proud of that record.
Great.
Okay.
But it took him helping me, and I think, you know, with the combination of me and him and Reed Rayleigh, I mean, well, Sherman played bass on the record. The bass player thing was kind of an issue. Sherman played bass on the record, but didn't stay in the band. I mean, it might seem like kind of like a Spinal Tap kind of thing going on with the bass player, but yeah.
Eu queria fazer uma pergunta para ele que é agora do começo de carreira, que ele lançou a primeira demo do The Obsessed em 80 e o primeiro álbum 10 anos depois.
Boa.
Translation?
Ivan was going to the beginning, asking something about the first demo that the Obsessed had, and 10 years passed until the first record. He was asking you something about that, the distance from the first demo to the first album.
Which dimension? Yeah. Okay. So the demo you're speaking of is which, I'm not really sure which demo you're speaking of. You're speaking of the Cross demo, we called it.
Ivan?
Yes, the first.
I'm not really understanding because the first single came out. The Sons Jackal single came out. And
yes.
I remember that we had a demo. We had a demo before that, yeah. Or did we? Here's my thing with demos. It's like my thing with demos is usually what's called, if I'm going to release something and it's called a demo, it's usually just outtakes or something, because I believe if you're going to go in the studio, you might as well just record what you're going to record instead of recording a demo. Like we had to do a demo. I had to do a demo for. I might be off question. I'm not really sure I understood the question. Maybe which demo were you talking about specifically?
The first one, Ivan, é aquela da cruz.
Yeah, a da cruz.
The one with the cross.
Brain Dane, Free a Child, Lysergic Lover.
Can you name the songs?
He was doing it.
Fear Child, Cold Blood.
Okay.
Lysergic Lover.
You're talking about really old. It's a logical. I'm glad you have that, and that's cool that you have that, man. I might need to get that from you. I might need that myself. But what it is like, those are the formative years. We were still growing. I mean, that was so old. That was in like 1978 or something like that. Because I bought my first black. Am I speaking too fast?
No, it's okay.
I brought my first Les Paul in '76. It was black, my black custom. And that's how I kind of gauge things by, because my dates can be a little bit fuzzy. But if I'm not mistaken, then we did some demos until we actually recorded our first single. And the reason that the first record took so long to come out is because we had to deal with Metal Blade Records. And the deal was that you got one song on his compilation series, Metal Massacre.
Metal Massacre, yeah.
Right? So Metal Massacre, 1, whatever. 3 was my favorite Trouble song, Day of Judgment, and then 4 or 5. So we were on Metal Massacre 6. So his deal was you get one song on the comp, and then you get a full length, okay? But that never happened because, so we decided right around this whole demo, at the same time, this time period that we recorded the demo that you speak of, we also recorded what would become the Purple album. We spent our own money. We call it on our own dime, meaning we paid for everything, knowing it would be easier in the long run to just sell it to them or license it to them. Okay, so we paid for it, and but it didn't see the light of day because Brian Slagle runs Metal Blade. Okay, so we got the one song, but at that very minute is when thrash hit. Okay. On the Metal Massacre compilation, Metal Massacre 6 that we're on, is also the debut of Nasty Savage, The Possessed, Dark Angel, et cetera. And let's face it, Slayer. I mean, they were boys to kill. I mean, they had an EP and maybe I'm not even sure if right around that time they had an EP, Haunted the Chapel, and then they had the full length, right? And that's right when that happened. So Slagle was like, "Oh, you guys sound dated, we can't do the dinosaur rock, so bye-bye." So he actually broke the deal. Okay, cool. So that's why it took such a long time between the demo and the full length. Sorry it took so long to get there.
Now you answered the question. Let me invite the Portuguese fans and the Brazilian ones to and everyone around the world to ask questions on our chat. If you have a question, I will say in Portuguese. Se houverem perguntas relativamente às bandas onde o Scott passou, disponham, tanto em Portugal como no Brasil. And if you have a question, go to our chat and ask Scott about something. Scott, we were talking about recording.
There's a ticker on the bottom with people communicating. Is that what I'll be looking for?
Yeah, because we will do the question also if they ask something. We help you out. Let me ask you something about recording, because we were talking about recordings. You have something nice over there.
We try.
It's your lady.
I'd like to show her off. Maybe I'll introduce her a little bit later.
Okay.
She's helping me with editing and a lot of the stuff I've been doing. She's an amazing cinematographer, screenwriter, editor, and so the product I've been able to do lately with everything, with little films and stuff, is mainly because of her. So I'll give her shouts. Her name's Shirley.
I love you.
We would love to meet her. Scott, we were about to ask you something about recording. So you started, everything was so different back then. But when you go to a studio now, how do you feel? How do you prepare yourself and with the band to go to the studio? What are the rituals that you have?
Well, right now it's pretty weird because everybody's streaming, and so that's a whole new kind of pressure. Like, people realize right away that it's not like a show where if you're streaming where you pile up the bill. I mean, that's good for the fans, but I mean, we got creamed on the fucking crowbar thing, financially, but it was fun to do. But it's a whole new kind of pressure because you can't. In that situation, we could record the whole set all the way through, no stops. And we had 2 tries to do it. Okay, so you can't stop and go through each song and then have that in the can and look at that and decide, yeah, that's good or not. So that's the pressure. So now you've got this live pressure of like where everybody in the whole world is watching you. So you've got to play the whole set all the way through. Okay, it's like a normal set, but it's a new kind of pressure. In the old days, or if I'm just going to go into the studio to record a record, my personal ritual is coffee and marijuana.
Good ingredients for sure.
Coffee and marijuana, nothing too crazy. We did the crazy shit for fucking when we got some final mixes and we're in the studio, listen to it loud. That's when we get crazy.
Chegou pergunta, Miguel.
Chuta. Chegou uma pergunta, desculpa. So we have a question here from Zemir Bretas.
Okay.
He would like to ask you something about that awesome Shrine Builder album.
Okay, I can see the questions. Okay, cool. I can see it.
Oh, great.
Okay, well, Shrine Builder was an experiment that worked. It was a kind of a wild experiment that worked. I mean, it doesn't happen very often. Shrine Builder, all I can say about Shrine Builder is it was an amazing band, and with the pedigree of that band, my tiny voice, within that structure, I said we should be carrying a substantial amount of production of gear. For what we do, we should have a small amount of production, and we should hire the people to help us that we need to help us. And I said we should be prepared to either break even the first time, maybe lose a little money, or break even the first time because the next time it will be beautiful. But unfortunately, and I hate to say this, but if you want the truth, it seemed to me that money meant more to some of the other members than I thought was necessary to get that off the ground. So consequently, there were some problems, like, hey man, how many guitars are you bringing on this tour? Well, at least 3, because I got 3 tunings. Well, man, can you just bring 1 and a half stack? Like, well, fucking Cisneros has got his fucking, Stonehenge up my ass, that kind of shit. When you try to save money so hard just to save money, it's going to cost you money. First thing that happened was we got pulled over by these corrupt cops in Austria. They took us to a side road and they said, here's how much you weigh. Here's what the fine's going to be. You want to drive down the road a little bit farther, give us some cash, and that's how it'll be, okay? Because the motherfuckers were too cheap to pull a trailer.
It really worked.
Sorry, that's true. So in my opinion, the money at the time, personal money meant a little bit more than I thought it should have meant in the context of the fucking epicness of that fucking band. God damn, dude. I was hypnotized every night. Every night. That was like some of the most beautiful, beautiful mind that I've ever experienced, man. If somebody would throw a bottle out of the crowd, dude, I wouldn't even see it coming. I was just so hypnotized by that music, It was so beautiful and so righteous. And I would do it again. I would do it again if they asked me.
Great.
One of the stories. Great. We have a new question from Fuzzed and Buzzed.
Oh, yeah. All right. I got your patch, brother.
Oh,
I love girl bands, right? All girl bands, all girl center rock bands. I mean, come on. So that's my boy, right? Okay. So okay, well, I see the question. Question is, how are those Creek Caravan days, and could we be seeing any reissues of those records down the road? I really wanted to bust out Brainwashed again, because I think that song is so timeless, and that's a song that me and Dave Sherman we split the writing on. I think his music to that, when he brought that music to the table, I was blown away, loved it, and thinking the way I do and about things, then I wrote those lyrics, and I mean, goddamn, I guess I better. We should reissue that song or something. Yeah, Brainwashed. Eu
tenho uma pergunta.
Chuta.
O Christian. Não sei se o Christian faz. Pergunta pro Wino se ele tem noção de quantos discos ele já gravou na carreira dele e com quantas bandas, tá? Número de bandas e número de álbuns. E pergunta para ele se ele tocou no War Horse do Nick Simper, daquela banda War Horse do Nick Simper da década de 70. Se é o mesmo War Horse do Nick Simper, tá? Por favor.
George was asking a lot of questions at the same time here. The first one is like, do you have in mind how many bands have you played and how many records have you done until now? And also he is asking if you played in the other War Horse band.
Oh God, how many tattoos do I have? No. Okay. All right. I'll try to answer that question. Let me see. Warhorse was not really a band. That was just like a name that we put together for that one show, which in that show was a fucking disaster at the local high school. I don't know if you've seen the video, these fucking kids talking about, I'd rather go grocery shopping with my mom than see that show. Come on. So that wasn't really a band, okay? But after that was in 1974 or 75, I think. Soon after that, I might be wrong. No, if I was playing my Blacklist, yeah, okay. So I bought that black guitar in 76. So it was definitely after 76. So I would say around, when we kicked that bass player out and and we moved ahead and we started playing clubs. And our first thing was we had to play, we call the band The Obsessed. And we had to play 3 fucking 45-minute sets a night. Or maybe it might have been 4. But it was definitely 3 45-minute sets a night. So we had to incorporate quite a bit of stuff in there. Like we did some covers, and the covers we did, I thought were pretty were music we liked, but they're pretty strange. Like we were doing everything from like Your Blues to Caught with Meat in Your Mouth, Dead Boys. We used to play a Dictator song, Young, Fast, and Scientific. We played Sweet Little 16. And then we played Decimation. Dude. And those were the days when, the local punk rock bands in DC at the time, like you had Iron Cross, you had Government Issue, you had State of Alert, which became Black Flag, State of the Alert, Henry. Then you had Minor Threat, Brian Baker's dick. Fuck that motherfucker. Just thought I'd get that in there. And I took his face, and I'd love to too next time. I got something for him, boy. I digress. So anyway, but those were the formative days. So okay, so that was the Obsessed. Okay. So after the Obsessed, after we spun our wheels for quite some time and we did some underground stuff, then I thought it was time for me to just fucking make a move, man. And so then I decided I joined St. Vitus. Joining St. Vitus was a pretty big deal because I moved all the way across the United States. I left everything I had. I left my fucking job. I left my girlfriend. I left my parents and any other ties I had. And I said, I'm going to that motherfucking band. And, David wasn't so convinced. You know what I mean? I knew I was doing the band, but he was still a little bit unsure. But I knew I was doing the band. And what one of the things that had to do was I had to get those guys to agree to tune their instruments down a whole half step. Okay, that doesn't sound like very much. Okay, but when you're talking about St. Vitus in those days, I had to bring my tuning with me, and I had to be like a little chart. You know what I mean? Because I'd already tried to sing all the stuff David was writing for Born Too Late and stuff for the record for Born Too Late. The stuff was like, man, it was passive music and it was right there, but it was a little tiny bit out of my range. And when I realized that if I could get those dudes to tune down, I realized it in the Obsessed. I realized like pretty late in the game that if I tune my guitar down a half step, then I could sing it. And I wouldn't be straining it, And so once I realized it, I went out there with my strobe tuner and I said, dude, I want audition for your band. I got no place to live, so I'm trying to join your band. And here's the tuner. I got a little chart. You guys don't mind tuning down for me, then I think you'll be happy. And so will I. And so I got them to tune down. We used to rehearse in this fucking little shed. All right? A little shed, man. And it was filled up to our knees with fucking Budweiser beer cans. I mean, we took pride in that shit. I mean, we filled that motherfucker up with beer cans, But what I'm trying to make is those are passing days. Once I got them to tune down, it all took shape. Then it took shape, okay? So St. Vitus is second. So, holy moly. Yeah.
Este gajo está com uma moca.
Vai, Christian.
Moment.
Well, I have a question which is kind of curiosity, okay? It's like you like painting and drawing in your free time.
Yeah.
So if you have you ever considered creating the artwork for The Obsessed?
Well, I did all the weird shit that's on the inside of Sacred. All those pull-out stuff, I did all that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And how about the book and the video clip?
What's that?
And how about the book we see in the video clip? Is also your artwork too, no?
Which book?
On the video clip. For the Sacred.
Oh, yeah. And I'm Forever Gone. Well, the cover was painted by the guy that works for Relapse, Orion. Orion's a genius. He does a lot of stuff. He did the cover. He had a painting already started, and we talked about it, We're digressing like a motherfucker now. We're talking about art. Is that cool? I'm sorry we didn't answer your question, dude. That was a long-ass fucking question. And now we're talking about art.
You would take 2 hours to say every band and every album recorded.
But back to the art thing, I like to throw it in there as much as I can. I'm seeing some other question, but it's in.
Okay, it's in Portuguese.
Yeah.
Is asking when will you play in Brazil, whatever project you're in, and he's saying that if you are in Rio de Janeiro would be a dream to produce. Oh, he wants to produce your show in Brazil.
É camarada nosso aí. Ele produz shows no Rio, né? Tá aí uma dica, né?
Yeah, I mean, we were supposed to be there in August. It's been my lifetime dream to go to South America. I've been blessed. We played in Portugal one time. I remember it was a cool show, or maybe one time that I remember. One time with the Obsessed. I think the only time we played in Portugal once. I think unless we did way back in the White Zombie days, but I don't think so. So one time
I wasn't there, so I can't say it. I can't say it. But perhaps in the north, I don't know if you remember the name Barroselas in the north of Portugal. SWR.
I remember very distinctly the last time or the only time I played in Portugal. I remember distinctly. I was feeling very cool. I was thinking very cool thoughts as we crossed the bridge. Yeah, I mean, I remember being in Lisbon. I was blown away, man. I was blown away. We were treated so well, and everybody was very chill. There wasn't this kind of uptight fucking. Everybody was very chill. I dug it. I dug it a lot. I remember the show being cool. I think I had some kind of. I think I broke a string or something. I had some kind of issue. I remember I was disappointed in my. Well, tis the shitty carpenter who blames his tools.
I have to ask you one thing about because it seems that you are a wine enthusiast. So have you tried the Portuguese wine?
This is port. I'm drinking port.
Oh, very familiar.
Taylor. Yeah. I thought I'd try to come sort of prepared. I mean, trying, you know what I mean? I mean, South America has some virtues that I don't have the luxury to have right now, but maybe in the future. Brazil is better.
Yeah, that's great. Eu ia pedir ao Jorge para puxar uma pergunta que ele tem ali.
Another collaboration with Victor Griffin. That's weird that you asked that because I talked to Victor recently. We talked more about motorcycle stuff, but I've been thinking about some stuff in the day. I mean, I'm really proud of the record we did. I think that Victor is an amazing songwriter. He's an amazing person, and he's an amazing friend. And I think that I think that record we did with Vision. I mean, I'm sad to say we never got to do any live shows, but man, I'm really proud of that record. That's one of if I had to take 5 with me, man, that's one of them for sure.
Okay. You are here for a long time, and I would like to ask you something about this travel related to the beginning, where you struggled to play live in metal shows, not being accepted as metal, and I've read something that you used to play more for the punk scene. Is that right?
That's very true. That's very true. I mean, you got to figure this was like 1977, 78. I mean, we were barely getting into the 80s. I think it was the 80s is when things started to happen. And I'll tell you, there was a distinct moment in time that kind of this rolled that. Because here's the thing, we were more or less suburban kids, okay, but we were into the Dictators, we were into the Stooges, we were into the New York Dolls, we were into the energy of that shit, and at the same time, I was really into the energy of of the local stuff that was happening. Of course, I was there for the Bad Brains and the Roar Tape. We actually got to play with them, and I can tell you, man, on that day when I walked in for sound check and they were sound checking, I walked into that room and I felt like I was pinned to the pole behind me from the energy of that band in that time.
Yeah.
They got weird quick, but fucking that shit was havoc. And I feel, it's I lost the question for a second.
The difference between being accepted first in the punk scene and then going to the metal.
We didn't give a fuck. We looked the way we looked. We decided that we wanted to do that. We knew we needed a lead singer, and so we fucking went to the record store. I knew this crazy cat who sold guitar parts or whatever, and he kind of had his finger on the pulse, so to speak. And he said, "I know." I said, "I want a singer who's like Ozzy, a little bit Iggy, and He goes, "I know just the guy." And he sent me down to see this cat. Okay, this cat's name is Vance. He didn't really. I mean, his voice didn't really jump out and grab me like Dax Riggs or Lanigan, but his stage presence was out of control. and that became that version of the Obsessed. We got a lead singer, and our goal is just to kick the door in, which is what we did. I mean, at least we thought we did for us. I mean, we supported the Bad Brains on the Roar tape tour. I mean, right when it came out, we supported the Dead Boys on their first reunion. You know, and I had never cut my hair. I had a kind of a pineapple hairdo. We used to cut ourselves completely with like this white makeup. I mean, my goal was to look like a corpse. My goal was to look like a corpse. Like you pull me straight in the river, play guitar, sort of like James Williamson. I don't know. It was just a phase.
Yeah. Okay, we have a question from, I believe that it's Portugal because we are Lusitania. So Carl Lux is asking the following.
I'm reading it. He said, why did Scott decide to transform the previous formation of Spirit Caravan and rehash, I guess he meant rehash, the Obsessed in the process? Was it hard to persuade the other guys into? I make typos all the time, dude. I got big thumbs, so I'm not sweating that. Basically, here's what happened. I never asked Dave Sherman to join the Obsessed once we were Spirit Caravan formally. He just decided to roll his gear over there and kind of like bum rush his way in, which he did, but didn't last very long. I love Dave Sherman, but you know what, man? It's just he wasn't up for it, and that's all I can say.
Okay, so we would like to ask you to try to categorize, because everyone needs a stamp today, or at least they think that bands needs
A label.
a label. Yeah.
You need a way to describe something, right?
Yeah. How would you just describe what you do?
Good question.
It is a good question. What I would describe as what I do is I live my life. I live my life. I live my life to play guitar. I live my life to write songs. I don't live my life to fucking lick the boot of some motherfucker who's lying in his pockets with other people's fucking sweat. All right? I've worked for a lot of people that are fair, and I've worked for a lot of people that are fucking punks. And there's more punks than there is fair people in this world, But you know what? I'm not judging anybody, and I'm not assuming anything. All I'm going to do is do the best I fucking can.
Man, we feel that. About the...
Miguel.
Diz.
Fala aí,
Mas a pergunta, vamos replicar a pergunta que a gente fez para Eric Wagner sobre o Doom.
Man, it's all about passion.
Essa...
It's all about passion. If we weren't passionate, we wouldn't be sitting here having this talk.
Sure. It was, we were talking with Wagner and asked him about how he would describe what he does, and he was saying that he plays rock and roll, and also said that when writing, he really didn't listen to any kind of metal. He listened to different stuff to, for his ears not being infected by other bands or other riffs or something like that. Do you follow the same ritual, trying to be a part?
I don't think that's really a ritual. I think that's sort of just him describing his lifestyle. I mean, okay, obviously we're all derivative. We all have influences, So in one way or another, we reflect those influences. You know what I mean? Whether it be the way we play guitar, whether it be the cars we drive, whether it be the girls we like. You know what I'm saying? We have influences. It's like all those are bad examples. Let me think of better. I'll give all these rock and roll examples. Let me rephrase that. Obviously, my sound, you could say, is influenced by Black Sabbath. Okay, I mean, I saw fucking Black Sabbath in 1973. It changed my fucking life. What can I say? I mean, that's why that I am the way I am. I feel very, very lucky. I feel not only do I feel lucky to be talking to you as members of maybe younger than me, or whatever it might be, but still of the same mind and the same respect. But I also feel lucky to have been able to experience some of the things that I did. And, you know, I experienced, you know, when you look at it from your perspective, you're going to be like, God damn, I wasn't even born yet. And you weren't even born yet. But I'll tell you what, man, I'm humbled to share these experiences with you, you know, and because they were fucking beautiful. Beautiful as fuck. And man, I can tell you the first time I saw the word ZZ Top, okay, it was hand drawn on some motherfucker's army cap, and I saw it at the show I was at. It was the third show I've ever saw in my life. It was Blue Oyster Cult on the Secret Treaty Store being warmed up by Nazareth, Razmin Naz.
Yeah.
Some dude walked by me and he had his fucking hat hand drawn on there, ZZ Top, and I was like, "What the fuck, ZZ Top?" You know, it wasn't until 3 years later when I was dating with Chick in Texas, her older brother had the first two ZZ Top records, you know, and we'd sit around in the basement, smoke pot, and listen to fucking, you know, brown sugar, you know. Fucking.
Hey, Scott, I would like to ask you something about the next project that you will do, because I know that you will be traveling around the country, the United States, and you have a project for your story, right? Can you tell us more about that?
Are you talking about my solo stuff?
No, the documentary.
Yeah, documentary is something that we don't have. We would like to enlist some help, but we don't have any right now. And you know what? We're fucking doing it hell or high water ourselves. Basically, all I'm doing is going to pick up my motorcycle. Matt Jackson Choppers, Austin, Texas. This is one of my brothers. We've been friends for a long time. He is a fellow music lover. That's how we connected to the music. Later on, you know, when I realized his talent, and we started talking, I was intrigued by him, and we hit it off. So basically, when I had a 1964 Harley Davidson Panhead chopper. By that I mean it has a custom frame, a long front end, custom frame materials, right? Got a 21-inch wheel on the front, got a 16-inch wheel on the back, no fat tire shit. This is like old school 70s, 60s, late 60s chopper. You know, I got these kick-ass fucking handlebars that I'm running. And but Matt Jackson is the man who, like, he's a metalsmith. He's an artist, is what he is. He's a fucking artist, dude. And he's turned me on to some great shit. He's turned me on to some amazing shit. He turned me on to fucking Blaze, man, you know. And he turned me on to Blaze, and that was really amazing. Last time when I dropped the motorcycle, basically, I got tired of the motorcycle looking like it did, which was kind of like half-assed. And I decided if I'm going to rebuild that bike, I'm going to rebuild that bike with Matt Jackson. I'm going to have that motherfucking thing painted. That thing is going to be so clean that you can eat off of it. It's going to be sanitary, you know? And so that's what I decided to do. And he was extremely receptive and also extremely fair. I think we worked out a fucking good deal. He introduced me to a couple of fucking killer people that are going to be in the documentary. He's going to be in the documentary, and man, we're looking so forward to it, man. We're leaving in 2 weeks, and we cannot fucking wait. I mean, you know, they might have their little borders up. Wear your mask at every rest stop, you know, motherfucker. Every time I put my mask on, I feel like holding the place up.
And you will be interviewing interesting people, right?
I'm not naming any names, but you know, I know I'm honored to know, and I'm honored to know several. I think what would be considered big name folks. It would be rash for me to release any names right now, considering I haven't asked half of them. We have a little game plan, and that game plan could entail just walking up to somebody's door, you know, after you haven't seen them for like 10 years and saying, "What's up, man?" That could be part of the plan. So I don't want to release any more details. what I would tell you is this, though. It's going to be all about the music. It's about the music, and the music, plain and simple. And the music will take us all the way out to where I get on that chopper, my old lady, and ride into the sunset, literally. Hey, man, if these elitist pigs who want to play God will let me do it, or will relax the parameters, which I will fucking worm through, then so be it. That's going to be the documentary. And then, I'd love to have you all in it.
And we'll be looking forward for it. We have a new question here about guitar gear. Ivan will be interested in this too. Which amps have you been digging lately?
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thanks very much. Thanks very much for the compliment. The amplifiers I'm using right now are made by this cat outside of Chicago, and his company is called Solar Amplifiers.
Yep.
I discovered him by following like a hashtag about Sun Model T amps, which have always been my favorite. I've always liked 70s Sun, SUNN, and the model was called the Model T. I was always intrigued by them since I was a kid, and because A, it's all tube, B, because it has a really nice preamp section. Anytime I'd ever see those amps for sale, it would always be a bass player selling them, because the bass players at that time were trying to get the Jack Bruce, Jack Cassidy kind of sustaining kind of bass tones, earthy, sustaining bass tones, right? And so that's why I got hooked up with Model T. And so one day I just followed a thread to Solar, and I saw this cat. I checked out his site. I don't know if he's a young cat. I would assume he's a pretty young cat, but man, this motherfucker's got going on. I mean, I just started looking at his page and looking at the parts he's using, the quality of the parts he's using. He's not pulling any punches because he's not trying to take names. He's not like, in some Instagram, like taking pictures of himself or anything. He's taking pictures of the components he's using, man. And what he's using is the shit. All right.
Okay.
He's building these amplifiers from scratch out of the most high quality parts you possibly could, with a fucking mind like ours, And so basically, I hit him up and I said, dude, amazing shit. And he said, I'd love to dig a little bit deeper into your stuff. And he said to me, he said, man, you don't even know it good. When I'm building these amplifiers, I'm listening to your shit. So the connection was made.
The question also had the pedals, something about the pedals you are using.
Well, as far as pedals go, what I like to do is I like to be able to get the sound that you're getting, your basic true sound, in my opinion, should be from the guitar and the amp, okay? I can get the sound I want from the amplifier that I'm using, because I can get the distortion, the sustain, whatever I need out of the amp at the lowest volumes I need to go to. Listen, I'll work with the sound people because I can get my fucking sound on stage, right? I used to be like, I gotta play at 5 or it ain't working. Okay, that's stupid. But you know what? You learn this stuff, man. You learn this stuff. I mean, it took me fucking 10 years try to figure out how I can run an inline tuner when they only had one out. You got to use a switcher box. It took me 10 years to realize that. You know what I mean? Listen. It's going to happen. But what I like to do is I like to get the guitar. I like to play Les Paul guitars. They got a lot of ass to start with. High output pickups. I have the signature. I'm lucky to have a signature series by Alex Vitus. I don't work with Lace anymore. I work with this cat in the U.S. named Alex Vitus. He's making me these pickups. They're going to be out really soon. They're called the Bloodwing pickups, right? So basically, I've got high output pickups that are custom tuned. He's using a combination Alnico, Cobalt. He knows what the fuck he's doing, okay? He's younger than me, but man, that motherfucker was winding pickups back in the Premonition 13 days. That's when he first gave me the prototype. He said, I'm making these pickups. You know how hard it is to wind a fucking pickup? I mean, that's some tech shit right there, brother. And to stay with it all these years and now be fucking wanting to pick up basses and guitars, this motherfucker's got his shit together. I feel like so lucky to be able to be playing with Solar and Audition. You wouldn't even fucking believe it, dude. You know? Next step is when I can afford to get next step is when I can get a Seeger guitar. When I get a Dallas Seeger guitar with Alex and Vitus and pickups, playing through the Solar heads, man, I think that's going to be the next step in my personal enlightenment. I hope.
And before we close this live stream, we would like you to introduce your lady. I haven't forgotten her. So please let us know who will join you at your trip going through the US.
This is my lady Shirley.
Hello from Portugal.
Let me tell you something right now. Yeah.
I gotta say, as a traveler, I fucking miss being international, and it's just good to hear all of y'all and to be able to connect with you, even just listening back there. And we miss traveling, and we can't wait to see y'all in person.
Yeah, can't wait. We got to bring back live rock and roll. It's time for people to really thank you very much, you guys, for giving us this forum. It's important, but we have to fucking pull it together. Davos, Switzerland, when the World Economic Forum is having their little party to reset the world, it's time to focus on these unelected motherfuckers. It's all we have. Thank you.
Yeah. Music makes us strong for sure.
Yeah.
By the way, we would like to, there are some questions that we do to all musicians around the world. That is, imagine that a young kid is going to ask you, what's the best thing to start? What would you say to him?
I'd say get yourself a digital tuner, get yourself a righteous tube amp. I mean, if you got it, I can tell you how to overdrive the preamp right now. If it's just straight tubes, you want to fucking dime the whole thing, and you get a separate box. It's called an attenuator as your distortion. If you've got a preamp, you crank the preamp all the way and bring the master up slow. You want to see how much low end it's going to give you. You want to see how much distortion it's going to give you before anything.
Whoa.
Cheers. Love you guys.
Hey, you surprised me so much, listening to your music and be talking to you so different, man.
Hey man, we're just people.
This is a compliment.
We're just people, but listen, they're putting the screws to us. And I'm old enough to tell you right now, after all the research I've been doing, we need to get it together quick. Focus on Davos, man. We need to fucking bring that shit down.
Positivity in life.
Indeed. Jorge, opá, esta live de facto é qualquer coisa.
Bravo.
Muito bom. Vamos encerrar?
Adiós.
É contigo.
Muito bom.
Okay. So from all the Portuguese fans on their behalf, thank you so much, and we hope to see you soon. Okay.
Thank you very much, and let's not forget Brazil, right?
Yeah, we really hope to see you playing in Brazil too.
Oh man, come on. we will.
Brasil?
Man, as soon as I can, we'll be there.
Ele já está a responder, Jorge. Ele está a dizer que assim que puder. Aliás, ele começou por dizer que estava para ir ao Brasil, até que isto ficou associado. Já foi.
Caiu.
Eu acho que a namorada dele disse que estava na hora de ir ali.
Gostei, o velho dos meus. Gostei.
Olha, eu acho que... Fantástico. Muito espírito.
Essa a gente ia fazer uma retrospectiva aí, né, do Heavy Culture, que a gente começou na pandemia aí, os melhores momentos. Essa já está no top 3. No top 3. Né?
Sem dúvida. Muito bom.
Bacana. Ô, Christian, obrigado aí pela tua participação. Né?
Obrigado.
Você já é da casa. O Miguel virou fã de Obsessed também. Eu percebi, ele tá com aquele sorriso quando ele vê o Mantas, Christian, quando ele vê o Mantas, assim, ele fica que nem aquele gato que fica dando risada da Alice, sabe?
Olha, é isto mesmo, é isto mesmo. Não, deixa-me dizer, e antes de fecharmos a live, eu senti no Scott o verdadeiro espírito do rock and roll, e isso é muito espírito Lemmy também. Foi fantástico, sem dúvida. Ganhou um fã.
Aqui,
O cara é
participando, foda. Assim, ó, a gente teve grande audiência aí, obrigado a todos. É bom o inglesinho aí, Miguel, o Christian, né? Agradecer o público aí, por favor.
Okay, so for the last ones that are watching us, thank you so much for your questions on our chat. Please join us and subscribe if you want to follow us. I was asking something about the next live stream that perhaps will happen next Tuesday with someone very special from France. I will talk later with George and Ivan and also Christian about having here, who knows, maybe next week, Aggressor.
Galera, é isso aí, Heavy Culture. Christian, mais uma vez, obrigado. Ivan,
estamos aí.
Obrigadão. Agora vou ouvir um The Obsessed daí para acabar com chave de ouro, né? E a galera mais jovem aí que está nos ouvindo vai escutar música decente, né? Vai ouvir um The Obsessed do Santi Vitus aí.
Já acabou a live tretando com a metade do mundo.
Em defesa da galera aí, até o Dark Front tá escutando o The Obsessed de St. Vitus que nem louco, né? Basta escutar aquela última carreira que é o Old Star.
Sim.
Galera, vamos encerrar para não arrumar inimizade, né? Miguel, obrigado.
Arrumar inimizade e o Miguel se incomodar em casa.
Não.
Galera,
aqui é Pacífico, vá. Valeu, vá. Grande abraço.
Novidades em breve aí. Heavy Culture não para.
Se inscreva no canal aí, ó. Se inscreva no canal.
Em 2021 a coisa vai pegar fogo aí. Se o Covid não pegar a gente antes.
Eu ainda tô proibido de falar de Celtic Frost, né?
Tá proibido, tu não pode falar. Celtic Frost nem o Jorge de Beffrey. Vocês estão só tretando.
Então tá, galera. Abraço.
Cheers.
Até a próxima.
Lá.
Tchau.
Tchau.